watching X-Men '97.
Oh, hey, welcome everyone to Fine, I'll Watch It. I am Smoking Fat Jay.
I am not Dan Snyder.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and James Cope, his best friend.
Yeah, James Scope is his old roommate.
Yeah, Dan Schneider's.
We are here as we are every week to talk whatever is relevant and nerd, sometimes whatever is not relevant. But today we are talking about something relevant, and that is the new Fallout TV series, which dropped a couple days earlier.
Yeah,
was yesterday.
in case you're wondering why we're not talking about They Live today,
Yeah.
it's because Amazon decided to bump this show up by 2 days and give us a chance to watch some.
Yeah, so we've all at least watched some.
Yep.
I made it all the way through. I marathoned it.
I had work and a child that can't watch the show.
That is true. Yeah, you don't want your child watching this show.
No.
At least not your young child.
I didn't think I was going to be here, so I didn't watch this show at all because it's based on a video game, and the
That's your
video
favorite.
game to other media content can go fuck itself.
It is your
It's,
favorite genre of television.
My favorite genre. It's actually not a bad genre of television, but it's a horrible genre of. I'm sorry, Halo. It's okay, Halo. It's
No.
okay.
No, nobody.
No,
no,
it's
it's
not.
not.
There's nothing okay about that.
Yeah, it's
We
not.
we we,
No,
wa- we all watched the first
I was
episode. That
not
was it.
gonna. I was not gonna watch this show, and then I wasn't even gonna be here for this review because I went to Santa Cruz, but then me and my wife got bored being in Santa Cruz, so we just came home, and I was like, God damn it, now I gotta watch that fucking show and review it. And so I only made it through the first episode and half of the second episode. So I'm like, I'm very early on.
All right. Well, we'll get through some of this show then. We'll
Yeah.
try to keep, we will be spoiling at least the first few episodes. And I'll
I
try
don't
to stay
mind
away from the
spoilers
rest.
at all. I think people that get upset at spoilers are just kind of silly.
Well,
Like,
there's a couple of plot things that happen, I think, that are interesting that it'd be good if you didn't know. You know what I mean? But maybe
Yeah.
not. But we'll get through it. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that jazz.
Before we get into it,
Thumbs
can we
up
go
and
around the
all
room
that.
and say like what it is our connection with Fallout is, if
Yes.
we have one at all?
That's exactly what I was going
I
to say.
have played some of the games.
Which games have you
I
played?
have never played. I have never played a goddamn one of these games. I do know about the mythology and the lore because I am a sad geek and I like mythologies and lores and world building. I'm a big fan of world building. So anytime a game or a comic or a fucking anime has got like a really fun or interesting kind of world, I'm one of those sad geeks that does research on
I'm
it.
right there. I fall asleep to lore videos of some
Yeah.
sort almost every night. So
We're like a subgroup of geekdom, a sad one, but it's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay, like we mean well.
right, but we got
But,
our own show, so it's how we compensate. So yeah.
Just throw
Which
it out
games
there.
did you play?
I've never played any of the games at all.
3 and a little bit of New Vegas.
3 and a little bit of New Vegas.
Yeah.
You never played, but did you ever watch anybody play any of these games at all?
Yeah,
James?
I would watch. I have some friends that became streamers, and every now and again they'd be streaming something Fallout, and so I would go watch it for support and stuff. So I know of the gameplay, I know the storyline, I know of like the dark sense of humor
Mhm.
with it associated with it, and then just I was helping John Morrison's little brother re-record audio for a video game. Christensen, I think you were there, and it was all about Fallout. And so John Morrison's little brother, Mike Morrison, was my
Mike.
roommate for like a year in LA.
That was my
And,
brother's best friend in like second grade too, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Me and Morrison talk about it every now and again. The weird connections
Yeah.
throughout Bakersfield. Yeah, not as incestual as this show, but we all know each other. So,
Well, to be fair, it was.
That-
It was they made it a point to be not be incestual,
to actually breathe.
even
Yeah,
though the
yeah,
cousin
yeah.
wanted it.
Yeah.
now this show's going to do pretty well in certain states. Don't you
Yeah,
worry
for
about
sure.
it.
The Game
It'll
of
do
Thrones
pretty-
fans are jumping on it right away.
Yeah, do a little X videos by the state count, and you'll see certain states light up with fun things. So, I've never played any of the games. I think the lore and the world building is so much fun in these games.
I've played at least a little bit of every one of the games. I didn't play the top-down ones back when
One
they
and-
were
1 and 2.
new, huh?
1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2. and there was like a Brotherhood of Steel one too. There was like a little offshoot.
Hmm.
But I played them later. I didn't make it through them because by the time I got to them, they were notoriously a hard playthrough back when they were, the good games. You know what I mean at the time. But Fallout 3, I loved. Actually, a mutual friend of ours, Matt Fredrickson, loaned me the copy of Fallout 3 first. He was like, "Oh, you like the Bethesda Elder Scroll games? You'll love this." So I started playing it. Loved Fallout 3. Played the shit out of it. Played the shit out of New Vegas. Played the shit out of 4. Played several modded version playthroughs of all of them.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, listen to all the lore about all the vaults and everything like that. Love the world.
Fun. It's really and what's great, I've never played Red Dead Redemption 5. I know way too much. Or is it Red Dead Redemption 2?
2.
2. Your 5 is Grand Theft Auto.
Your
Thank
dyslexia is showing.
Motherfucker, we were supposed to start this call a half hour ago. And I started drinking a half hour ago. And we're right at that sweet spot.
Our producer who's bailed on us right now had completely forgot about you.
Yeah.
That's
We
right.
thought,
You're
fine.
good. You're fine.
We're giving James shit.
Yeah. I will also be remiss if I do not mention that my wife has a couple of the Vault Boy little
Nice.
figures all
That
over the
stuff.
house.
The thumbs up for the bomb going up, and then talking about it in this show. Such a wonderful. Like, I'm only an episode and a half in, but the highest compliment I can give to this show right now is I can't wait to watch the rest. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. And the aesthetic, you know what I mean? Like they get the aesthetic right. Like it looks like the game. It feels like the game. Like the way the colors pop in certain things, and then just the dinginess of everything else. You know, that contrast between being in the vault and then being out in the wasteland. I just think that they were spot on so much of the feel of what this video game is.
So I think I've figured out why this works so well is that it's not taking from any particular game. It's just taking what Fallout is, the world and how it operates, and making their own story off it. So basically this is kind of like the tabletop game. This is a campaign from the tabletop version of Fallout. Yeah. Whereas like Halo, which we brought up a little bit ago, is tried to take the lore of Halo and then just do their own thing with it. And
well, Fallout's really lucky in that, they can just take this and make it like they were making Fallout 5 because it's kind of an anthology series. It doesn't follow one main protagonist through each game. Yeah. They have factions that are prevalent through different parts of the United States, you know, depending upon where you're at. There's creatures, you know what I mean? There's the vaults, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of those things that they could take from, but you're right, they don't necessarily have to. Now, seeing the whole series, they do take a lot from the video games that you know too. There's a lot of little things that as you get into it, you find out they are putting in a lot of things.
I've never even played any of the games, and so many of the references, everything was there. Just watching other people play the game and knowing all the lore, all the soda pop 1950s silly ass shit, the size and shape of the robots, the design of the robots. We normally talk about our overall feelings before we get into the good and bad, and there is a little bad in this, but it's going to be kind of us all jerking off Fallout for a while. But
there's a trend going on recently, it seems like, on this show.
Yeah. That's great. That is great that we have good media to talk about. That's so nice.
Such a change from last year.
Oh, God.
We should be talking about X-Men 97, because X-Men 97, just for future man watching this in 100 years, episode 5 just came out of that. Stop what you're doing. Go watch X-Men 97, episode 5. You know, watch the whole thing, but the whole series. But oh my goodness,
we'll talk about that at the end for sure. Yeah,
it is so wonderfully done. But what I can say for this, the biggest compliment I can give this, one, that I really can't wait to finish it, but two, I would like to thank the filmmakers for not thinking they were smarter than the source material that had the fan base to begin with.
Mhm.
And we've seen this too many fucking times with video games, motherfuckers. I hate that we have to review video games for you people. It's been, I hate it. I hate it. I don't know why we do it anymore. I don't know why they make it anymore. It never works. Last of Us was a fluke.
Yeah,
But
this-
now this.
but you know what, James?
I know everybody's gonna fight. I'm not there yet. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You guys, I still do not believe in video games transferring to other forms of media at this point.
No, that's fine. But it's still the biggest joy that we brought in 2022 when you found out The Last of Us was based off
Yeah,
a video.
That was the
game.
best. That was the best thing to happen in
I
2023.
fucking,
That was the
fucking
best media of
instant-
2023.
Yeah.
Both The Last of Us series and James finding out it
Yeah.
was a video game.
And then like what? The fourth episode in, I wore a beard
Yeah.
because I was like in unity with. I was cosplaying the fucking
Joel.
show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, The Last of Us was a remarkable season of television, and I am only an episode and a half in on this, but this is
Well, we'll have to
Really-
catch up with it next week because I really think that you'll. I think that you'll.
Hey, my
enjoy the
wife's
rest of
here.
it.
I
Uh,
am gonna absolutely finish the series because the first episode and a half had a lot that I liked. But what was nice is just so many times these things get put out and then everybody's like, well, yeah, they changed Resident Evil because the filmmaker thought they had a smarter story than what was in the video game. Yeah, well, we had to change Mario to make it more like in the real world because the video game's too cartoonish. Like, we always get these fucking stories from everybody about why they gotta change shit. And it was really nice watching the Fallout show and going like, if you told me this was a fan film, I'd believe you because you didn't try to make almost anything new.
No.
And I'm really happy that you didn't because I don't need new shit in this world. I just need the Fallout universe. And I think if you keep to that, that is an interesting enough world. Now it's your job to create characters in that world that we find likable, interesting, or whatever. And so, but for right now, man, it really for me feels like they kept that world intact.
So it's going to be interesting to hear from you as you go through the series because I'm through episode 3. The one thing they do introduce in this is the lore history of how we got to where we are
Yeah.
with a lot of different things. You say you don't want spoilers, and like episode 3, if we talk about
Oh no,
that.
I say I don't mind spoilers.
No. That's fine. But I'm saying we start talking about episode 3. There's some like one huge drop spoiler about the entire world.
Yeah, and I will say,
Okay.
going through the whole season, it very much fills in a lot of the blanks of the lore of, yeah, how everything went down, why everything went
That's
down,
wonderful.
who
That's
the
that's
real
exactly-
bad guy of the whole Fallout series is. Like they're doing big reveals in this.
Well, that's what a series should be, motherfucker.
Mhm.
It shouldn't be just a retread of the stuff we already know. It should be the stuff we already know, and then they're moving it forward.
Right.
Yep.
And I think they do a
He-Man-
really good job in this of it being where it's like there's enough action and gameplay element stuff in this, but the stuff that they do give you, like the flashbacks and these different things, like they're very valuable.
Yeah.
You're sucked in to know what the fuck is going on, you know?
Mhm.
And they another thing that I really love too is the way that we're brought into it. We joked a little bit. James said longest tutorial ever. I said you've obviously never played a Bethesda game before because that's the fucking Bethesda has long tutorials at the
I
beginning.
paused it. My wife asked why I paused it, and it was like 55 minutes because I was like, the vault's finally open, and we get to
Is it-
finally fucking play the game. So I wanted to know how long I had to wait until I got to see her play the fucking game.
Is-
Well,
I
you
don't
have
need
a
to
moment.
play it.
You
is-
have that moment to respec your character if you need to right
Yeah.
then. So,
Yeah,
you
totally,
know?
totally.
Isn't Skyrim like the shortest intro level for any of the Elder
Bethesda
Scrolls
games?
Any of the Elder Scrolls games?
Any of the Elder Scrolls
Yeah.
game. I think it's any of the, yeah.
Because
including
like
Fallout.
Oblivion has a full goddamn thing you have to go through. Morrowind does. Daggerfall does.
Well, you still have a bit of one in.
Yeah, but
in
it's not
Skyrim.
as long as the other ones are. It's like pretty straightforward to get through Skyrim, so that was kind of amazing. So yeah, no, this
Morrowind might
is
be the shortest.
uh,
But I liked that you come in, you follow the protagonist. I just love the little things. She talks about her skills. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not real video gamey, but it's enough to be like, okay, you know what I mean? But I also love too that just like in those games, they've always had really rich side character stories.
But
And that's
they-
what
they-
they do in this game is they give you other main characters to follow throughout this that have valuable storylines that go through, and of course they interconnect later on, and it's a lot of fun.
I also think
those reels.
and we'll get into the bad stuff in a second, but I do think it was a wonderful way they started it. They started it right before the bombs drop. We got a very cool, very interesting scene. Like I was doing shit when I was like, I'm gonna put your fucking video game dumbass show on in the background, and I'm going to do something else because this is gonna suck. And that from the first line, I was watching it, and I just stopped whatever I was doing. I just was fucking laser focused on this
Hey,
because
can we
that first scene,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
dude, that first scene's a really great scene. Like
It
it's
is.
a really good scene. Like you understand that this guy's kind of on hard times, and like the whole world is kind of falling apart around them already. Like you see like the news anchor freaking out, and I was like, there was the robot in the background. I was like, there's already so many details.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up getting people punching each other trying to get into their vaults,
Mhm.
showing the shitty view these games have of humanity. Like it's so beautiful.
Mhm.
It's like, and the nihilistic humor that was
And
already kind of there. Yeah.
I mean, and I say this is going through the whole thing. Walter Goggins was the greatest choice for that character, in my opinion, and he only gets better throughout this
Yeah.
series. And I really think
he
there's an
becomes
Emmy
the
nomination
Ghoul.
in this.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
He's
the
the
Ghoul.
The
Ghoul.
Ghoul's gonna be my favorite character.
Yeah.
I'm a little. I'm only an episode and a half in, so I only saw like
and
the
it's-
resurrection scene.
And it's sad that you're only that far in because the second half of the episode is him.
Yeah, second half is all him.
Let's go into the stuff we didn't like. Let's go into the bad right now because we're gonna do a lot of. I want to say this too, real quick, before we get going into that. Every review for this fucking show has been sucking its cock, and I was like, it's gonna suck. And it was so nice that it hasn't yet. I'm only an episode and a half in, but it was so nice that it hasn't yet.
Yeah. The only thing that really got me there was some like you mentioned fanfic. There was some little fanficky feeling CGI stuff occasionally that just didn't look the best. It looked a little bit choppy. I know a lot of people were complaining about the power armor. I think the power armor mostly did good, but in this series, there's about 3 scenes where someone's walking slowly and cricking their neck. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
did you just use that again? Like, so there's a few little things like that, but mostly gorgeous and mostly, poppy and everything looks great. But I did have there was some jittery, weird CGI stuff that bugged me a little bit.
The knight armor is weird because it's a practical suit for the most part.
Right.
And then there's those times where they blend in CGI elements into the practical, which makes it look off.
When he Iron Man's his mask, it looks weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, that just always looks weird too. I mean, it's clean lines on Iron Man's actual mask, which is why it looks a little bit better. But yeah, but the biggest problem I've seen so far, because only 3 episodes in, is in episode 2 where where the former Knight Titus fights the mutant bear, and that armor just drops to the ground when it gets attacked. It's like,
yeah.
So somebody failed on the animation of that particular scene.
That was a little weird. Well, let's talk about that too, because there's cameos. There's cameos galore throughout this that I didn't know. Michael Rappaport as
Michael Rappaport
as the asshole knight.
That's
that
the thing.
was perfect.
They made it all
casting.
dramatic of him killing him, and spoilers. We already said that, but yeah. of like him killing him. I was like, that's not fucking that guy was dead. I was like, that's not a hard choice
Yeah.
in this world.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not a hard choice in this world of like, hey, I need to nurse you and help you back to health
It's-
so that I get in trouble when we get back.
Well, well, see, that's the thing though. Is no, it's not a hard choice for the world, but for that sect, that goes completely against the sect because the knights have such a high respect and high rank, even though they're the biggest dicks in the world.
Well, you know, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it is. It's very old, you know, Knight Squire, you know,
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing. You know, it feels like something you'd see in Game of Thrones. What I really like is again, you go back to the character thing, you know. Yeah, I can almost see the choices that, you know, the choices that he can make in his dialogue choices on
Yeah.
the game.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's like they always have that kind of goofy, blubbering one, and he's kind of that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who
And
is this kid related to like Denzel Washington?
That's
I
not-
thought,
that's not his
look,
kid.
I
I
said to Matt before this, I couldn't get a read on this dude's age.
Yeah.
Like he plays young, but he
That's-
looks like
oh my
Cuba Gooding
God.
Sr.
So what we said was he looks like Denzel's young grandfather.
Yeah.
Because like his face looks so old, but he like when Denzel was young, he looked really sharp. Like I don't know, go back and watch Gloria. Like that guy was young and in shape and 80 pounds wet. And this guy has very soft features, but his face looks so much like him. Like I was just like, oh my goodness.
I thought he looked like Cuba Gooding Jr.
There you go.
That's who I thought he looked related to. But there's more. There's more cameos throughout this. You get a bunch. You later on you get. I mean, we saw from the commercial. You get one-eyed. What's his name from Saturday Night Live?
Chris Parnell. Not
Chris Parnell,
Chris
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we also later on you get what's the other guy? What's the drummer guy from Saturday Night Live? The other one he was the Cuban guy, I think. He was in Portlandia.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't. I never remember. I
can't
never
remember
remember
his
his
name.
name.
Horatio Sands or
No, not him.
No,
the
the
skinny
lead,
one.
the male lead of Portlandia.
Yeah, the male lead in Portlandia.
Oh yeah.
I don't
oh,
know why
Yep.
I can't remember
Yep,
his name.
never
Yeah, I
remember his
know.
name.
Man, that's gonna bug me. But
I'll
anyways, yeah,
finally
he's
look it
in
up.
there later, and it's pretty great. I just really love, again, like it feels so much like you get into another vault later. You have all these, just these subtle things that in the video game, because you have all these factions, but they're all really just cults. You know what I mean, of a different sort. And I really like they have this theme that goes through the whole series where it's, and one of the guys says at the beginning, and they say it through, you know, everybody really wants to, each of these factions want to save the world. They just have a different way of doing it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Which that's how this fucking world we're in works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too. You know what I mean? Their intentions, you know.
Wait. Fallout is a parody of our own world.
It is a parody of our world.
What?
Whoa, mind blown.
Pun
Pun intended.
Really quickly to get off our minds, Fred Armisen.
Fred Armisen, that's it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fred Armisen
Um,
shows up later.
Well, let's go over the bad stuff. The stuff. For me, it's a little padded here and there, and I really did like at the 55-minute mark. I did want them to go out into the fucking world, but then we cut to another character start their world building, and that shit was kind of driving me nuts of the going back and forth. Not because it was bad storytelling; it was actually really well done. The cast in this is really great, but I want it to move forward, which is, I guess, a compliment. That like, oh wow, this is sounding really great. Can we go see this crazy shit? I guess, yeah. But
Yeah. Well, ending that storyline with kind of how it was though too. I mean, that was some amazing stuff. Like we saw a lot of it in the trailer and stuff, but you know, pregnant lady with the fork in her eye shooting up the place, you know, that battle was great. I didn't, I mean, I figured because it was Fallout and it was on Amazon that it was going to be but I didn't know that it was going to be. It was refreshing that they just don't give a fuck and all that. You know what I mean? Like that's great.
But it wasn't gratuitous. You know,
No, it
was
wasn't.
like there's straight up a sex scene in this. You know, but it was like you didn't see anything that was over the top. I felt
No, no. But it wasn't. TV
It's not for
PG
wasn't that
either,
the
you know,
Disney spot?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
yeah. It's
It
definitely
wasn't they
it's
start
definitely not
kissing
for
and cut
younger
away and they're
kids.
waking
Yeah.
up.
No Dr. McStuffins in this.
No,
Like,
no, Dr. No, I agree with you to a point that yeah, the first episode was a little drawn out, but as you go through the rest of these episodes, it like does all what it needs to do. It sets everything up so the rest of the episodes can move along at a much quicker pace. They
I
can
was
get from
hoping
point
as
A to
much.
B.
That's why I made the joke in our chat earlier. Like, this is the longest tutorial
Yes.
ever. But
Mhm.
hearing from Jared and other people, I don't think it is with these games. I've never
Yeah.
played one,
No.
so
No, they
we
all
all
are.
have been stuck in those games with those long tutorials.
Literally was
Uh,
watching Fallout 3 like little just the storyline playthrough, not you actually playing the game, just cutting to the story beats. Just the tutorial part was hour-long video.
And,
So,
there's
just
a
to
wonderful
get out of the way.
forgotten game on GameCube called Eternal Darkness.
Yes, love it.
Yeah, a middle-aged round of applause there. And
Me and my
in
sealed copy at home.
Eternal Darkness's tutorial is an entire person's existence.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I was just like, fuck me. Like, I love that game, but some games have a really hard time with that tutorial. And that's what the start of the show felt like, where I was never bored. Which that's the biggest compliment. But I just got so excited about what was on the other side of the door. 55 minutes in, I was ready for that motherfucker to open already.
Yeah, I did love that. That was a very Fallout scene of her going out that vault too. 'Cause
Oh,
that's exactly what it is.
Oh,
in
it's wonderful.
Fallout 3. So let's go ahead and talk about episode 3 and spoil that reveal at the end of
Well,
3.
let me spoil one thing for James for episode 2. It does a very bold thing in episode 2. You know how they introduce new characters?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that episode. That's their episode.
Okay.
You will not see Ben live past that episode.
That's it.
Okay.
You'll see him for the
yeah,
whole
you'll
series.
see him. He'll pop up, but not
Not alive.
yeah, not live.
All right. That's all right.
So-
It's like again, if it's good storytelling, I don't give a shit. And so far,
Yeah.
Again, I'm only an episode and a half in, but I was doing other shit, and it was such a good show. I couldn't do the other shit. I had to focus on this show. So yeah.
And they make a bold decision in the fight you haven't got to yet.
Yeah, they do.
Well, you guys talk. I'll drink.
so
Oh, what an existence!
Episode 3.
episode 3.
Episode 3 starts going into a little backstory of a man who used to be known as Cooper, Walter Goggins' character. They start now showing things from the past of him in his heyday of being a movie star.
Yeah, he Boba Fett's it through this whole series, but
Yeah.
he doesn't get into a Bacta tank to do it, so
No.
works out.
No, it's actual flashbacks. But the big reveal at the end of it is that his character is what Vault Boy is based on.
Yeah. He was the face of. He was the Vault Boy.
I kind
He
of
was
guessed
Vault-Tec.
that from the first scene. I
Yep,
was
no.
like, as soon as they were like, "Oh, could you do the thumbs up? You used to always do it," and I was like, I laughed. I was like, "Is he Vault Boy?"
Yep.
Like that was my first joke because they asked him to do the thumbs up, and knowing the lore, I knew that like, oh, this was a part of a marketing campaign, and this whole thing, the hold your thumb to see if you can't see the mushroom. So it's a cool. I'm glad it's a reveal, and I'm glad he is that character. But yeah, it was set up in the first scene.
Mhm.
Well,
So good.
even better than that, it was his idea for the thumbs up.
It was his idea.
He was just there. He was there for a photo shoot in the suit, and then he's hey, how about I try with the thumbs up?
Yeah.
And he does it.
And that became the face.
Mhm.
Of,
and the fact
of
that
Vault-Tec.
he is that marketing campaign and stuff like that, that plays a big part in the whole rest of the series too.
Yep.
With everything that's going on. It's very interesting. They do a lot of stuff. I'll give my couple little kind of spoilery, non-spoilery gripes that I have. There's no super mutants in this series. So
Well-
they reference them. they show kind of like almost like a, oh, here's video footage of the Hulk. You know what I mean? Scene of it.
There's no what? What are we talking
Super
about here?
mutants.
Super
So they
mutants.
have they talk about it in this, but they have the FEV, the forced evolution virus or whatever that they had in this
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah. So we don't see any of the great big monstery people.
We see a great big monster type thing, but not those super mutants in particular.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
it's,
that is lame. You're right to be pissed. That's lame.
well, I think it's an intentional choice. I mean, I think it got through it, but I think it's an intentional choice because they already had season 2 planned.
Yeah,
Not even with Amazon approving. They
and
already
that's
had
probably very expensive to do too. But
Well, and yeah, save something for season 2. I can
Yeah.
see that. There's nothing wrong with that. If your storytelling is good, and not padded, you know. So yeah.
hmm so there's that. That was kind of really the only thing that I think we missed out on being in the next. But really, like they hit different beats. Of course, we got dog meat in the series. I mean, dog meat. There's always been a dog named Dog Meat in every Fallout game.
Well, I gotta
Sometimes he's
tell
good,
you,
sometimes he's not.
He is the goodest boy. He
Yeah, he
goes
is.
out there. He fucking somebody comes in the room that ain't supposed to be in there. Dead.
Yep.
You hungry? I'll rip a hand off a motherfucker. Like he is just a good boy.
Yeah, he is.
Well, Walter Goggins almost became the most hated man in this.
Yeah,
in
he
this
did.
series.
Yeah, he did. I did like the things like the stem packs. I do like how they talk about the drugs in this game. 'Cause famously, Fallout was supposed to, like the original Fallout had real drugs,
Yeah.
heroin, cocaine, weed. All that was originally the drugs, and then they had to rename them to like Jet and different shit like that. But
What
drugs
This
have
world
always.
is so lame. We're so lame.
what
They
I'm
didn't need to rename them. They
No.
didn't need to rename them. Quit
Agreed.
being lame, society. Society, you suck. God
But you
damn it.
can famously in the game get addicted to the drugs. You can take the drugs; they give you benefits, but eventually you'll become addicted to those drugs, and you got
So
to
you
keep
get
taking them.
addicted to boom boom juice instead of fucking cocaine.
Yep, exactly. Mentats. You know,
Grow
that's
up,
cocaine.
grow up, America. Grow up, America.
form an addiction like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Now, what I enjoyed about all that is, unlike other video game programs, things like that, they didn't feel like they needed to explain any of that to you.
No,
It's like, here's the thing. Like,
these are our drugs.
Yeah, we're doing this. These exist. We're not going to explain what they are.
Wow.
Even to Lucy. It's like, I'm not going to explain.
No, like when
Either
they,
know or you don't.
like when she shot up her skin and then stapled it and shit. My response was, oh, they're treating this very much like a video game where healing yourself is magic.
Mhm.
It's fine. It's fine. And I like that she shot herself up with drugs and was fine to go do the thing.
Well, Simpacts are kind of a magic thing.
They are.
But whatever. There's also a clever thing in episode 2, which you haven't got to yet, on how you get new limbs.
That's true.
Nice.
But
I love the-
there is
I
a
love the
real
fucking-
world bad side to
I-
that. So
I love the non-playing character who's trapped at the house that won't go into the woods. That was so great. That was like it was almost, you could teach a class in meta writing of that. Of can't leave his zone because
Yeah.
he's got to tell
This is my
anybody who's
pathing
playing
right
the
here,
video
that's it.
game.
yeah,
That's all he can do, and it was just like it was really well. You could stay here and be my wife. I like that. I like that offer. It was just like because I'm not allowed to leave any more than this area. Which really fits. It also like since we're going back onto the things we like, the music feels like the tone and the music you would use for a Fallout show.
Yeah.
You know, it's like and this cast is really strong. A couple of characters not as strong as the other so far, but everybody is pretty fucking strong here.
well, Lucy's brother, which like is portrayed as a weak character, becomes more important as as the story goes
And
on.
he's the
So.
tiniest man
Yeah.
that ever lived.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They put him up next to
That
his
motherfucker looks
cousin.
like he's 30. He looks like he's 36 and 12 at the same
Yeah.
time. Like,
Mhm. Same as
goddamn.
Maximus somehow too.
Yeah.
Two characters
Yeah.
like that.
you see people like that,
He
and you
looks
just
32
go
and
home
65.
and you're happy about being you.
Yeah. Anything else we want to say, or should we rate this?
The other thing the only thing I want to say, which isn't, I don't necessarily fault this show, but I fault all shows that do this now. You have a series. You don't have. I don't know why you still treat episode 1 like it's a pilot
Mm-hmm.
when you have the full series in the thing, and then after episode 1, here's what's coming up on this season. It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's like it's not a
we saw the
pilot.
trailer. We're already in.
Society is in a transition, getting away from the old television tropes. And I'm being serious here. Like, we're really like seeing a transition with things. And so, yeah, it's going to take some time for people to figure out you
Fuck-
don't need to do the pilot anymore. Just
Fuck those
whatever your
boomers.
story is.
Fuck those
Yeah.
boomers.
Yeah, fuck them boomers.
I'm sorry. Fuck those boomers and all of that. Us Gen Xers
Yeah.
are fine with this transition.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys, let's rate this thing. I'll start. For me, it's going to be a 4.
All
I'm
right.
real excited. I saw the whole season. That's for me for the whole season.
Okay.
I'll give it a 4. It wasn't perfect, but it was great. It made me very excited to see what they're going to do next.
All right.
Yeah,
4.
I'll go next.
Fallout
I'm
Boys.
giving it a 4 as well. I've only seen 1.5 episodes, but I wrote down on my stupid notes here to give it a 4 out of 5 and to bug you guys about X-Men 97 episode 5.
We'll get there.
So,
We'll get there. We'll get
yeah.
there. I've seen the first 3 episodes. For the first 3 episodes, I'm getting it 4.5. Mostly because I want to see the person not get kicked in the nuts by Vault Boy for a brief second.
And I can't wait for the ghoul. Like that scene, that entrance, that re-entrance of the character
Mhm.
coming out from a grave, being pulled out, was such a great way to reintroduce a fun character. But the writing was not great, It was such a smart concept, but they didn't quite have the right words. It was fine, but that should have been like a Quentin Tarantino scene or something, or fucking Jack Sparrow entering.
So the thing about that is that whereas the other factions you can kind of just go by the name and understanding them.
Mhm.
Ghouls, yes, you can understand that they're basically a living undead type character, but there's no full explanation on them, so it's a little more difficult to justify them in the world and everything else like that. As Jared walks away,
Yeah.
walking away. Keep going. We're gonna keep going. So I think that's what the only problem is, that you don't want to over exposition the character, that type of character
Totally.
and everything else like that. And they did a fine job not doing that. They said there's
Yeah.
the ghouls are these creature-like characters, but at the same time, there's also a good version and a bad version of them. The bad version will go after these chickens, and we got to kill them.
And you know what's funny is like every time there was bad dialogue or sloppy dialogue, I was like, well, that feels like a video game. Because any of us who are of a certain age who have played video games for a long time have lived through the you are the master of unlocking and things like that, where it's like every now and again you hear like just lines and phrases, all your base belongs to me, that you're just kind of like, yeah, some video games don't have the fucking best dialogue, so maybe it's still very true.
The fun
when
thing,
they don't.
the fun thing is not even that it's the video games that have the bad dialogue. It's the American translation of these video games that have the bad dialogue. Somebody along the line, like before Google Translate existed, somebody created their own stupid version of Google Translate to translate all this shit.
I got that. There was still somebody typing the words that went, "The master of unlocking." That's what we're going with. Somebody still had to type that shit into English, and then record somebody saying it. So then there was another person, and then a third person that was probably an actor, and the actor read the line like, "You, the master of unlocking." That's what we're going with.
No, the delivery of that line was that guy just going through the lines.
Yeah.
That particular actor didn't give two shits about what they're
Mhm.
saying. They're just like, I'm getting paid for this, I guess.
Harry, I told you the check did not clear. I shouldn't even be in here. Just read the lines and get the fuck out. Fine. Jill, you, the master of unlocking, take the lockpick. All right, good, done. Go next.
He Krusty the Clowned it. Just went through
Totally,
and
absolutely.
dished out of there. At least Capcom's smart enough to know to make fun of itself later on, because in the remake of 4, towards the end of the game, the president's daughter says, "I'm becoming a real master of unlocking things." Like, it just is offhanded way. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Well,
Well,
I'm looking forward. Like, I'm
Yep.
literally, when we get off this, I'm probably going to go watch more Fallout, which is
Alright.
the nicest compliment I can give it.
indeed.
That I didn't want to watch it, and now after watching an episode and a half, I'm going to finish all 8, like, no matter what. Like, it was a quality start.
Well, we can talk about the rest of the series next Thursday when we come
Yeah.
back. Unless we get interrupted by another particular series, which we're in the middle
Good
of
Lord,
right now.
not enough of you out there are talking about X-Men
No,
97.
nobody's talking about X-Men 97, especially this last
Oh.
episode. Not a single person on the
Oh my
internet.
God. Well,
Let's
I'm
talk about
not seeing
episode
it in my
5.
algorithm. Like, and Google, my algorithm's been kind of white lately, you know. So let's fix that a little, huh? Let's fix that up a little.
It's white
I wanna
leaning.
Yeah. And I get it. I feel safe. Thank you. But could we now, try a little more here? Try a little, go the extra mile.
You're on Truth
Oh.
Google. That's your
Thank
problem.
you. Yeah, exactly. So, man, X-Men 97 episode 5. God damn it.
Ah.
God damn, that episode was amazing.
This series, which has no right to be as good as it has been so far,
It kind of
somehow just keeps elevating what it's doing, like taking more recent storylines and put them in such a way that it's like it works, and works because the dialogue that they write for these characters is like peak dialogue. I mean, and
it's
they're sacrificing people for real.
It's kind of getting me angry at the X-Men movies. It's kind of getting me like now I'm getting kind of like mad where this is such a good show, and they hit the brakes all the time in this show. We just got 15 minutes of Storm and Forge hanging out. Will they? Won't they? What's a mutant gotta say? And so, oh my God, this show hits the brakes all the time, and more has happened in this show than I think X-Men 1, 2, and 3 combined. The lives they're living and the deaths that we've seen in this show feel more real and feel more rewarding to a character. If you know that character, even if you just know a surface level of that character. I always thought Gambit was a little weak as far as yeah, he's a Cajun card player. Would you fucking take 2 minutes to figure that out? And I'm a cook and I shoot the spices. You fucking lazy bastard.
I have a vault boy dancing in my
I'm
head.
a teacher. I throw pencils. It's like Gambit was always like, get out of here, fucking little boy.
I want to make 2 points on that whole thing. One, me bringing up last week of how underutilized Gambit was this entire series up to this point. And 2, you spending last episode talking about part of the reason why the last episode didn't work so well was because they dropped the soap opera thing from the other episodes of X-Men and how the X-Men are known for soap opera type things and everything like that. And this episode just like, oh, okay, fine. Fuck you and your thoughts, because we're just going to give it all to you.
Fucking, it is non-stop soap opera. I'm sorry, it's soap opera, and then one of the best action scenes we've seen in any X-Men property, which is exactly what the X-Men comics were when they were at their best. Soap opera and then amazing action. And that's exactly what episode 5 gave us. And it gave us so many rewarding moments. They even showed some of the new X-Men that are in the latest the latest Uncanny X-Men, and they suck. But they were there. Like somebody took the time to include those horrible characters, those characters that no one likes and that should have never existed, but they were there. Why? Because the people making that show really care about presenting the best view of this world. And yeah, they pulled this from the Executioner song and this from the House of M and this from, Days of Future Past or whatever you have. But it's so well done. It's so well done. It makes me mad. I had to pay ticket price for X-Men 3. I had to pay ticket price for Wolverine Origins Logan double shit. I paid ticket price for so many bad X-Men movies.
We were
seeing this type of storytelling, and and they have done nothing. They've almost done nothing new. A couple of new things here or there, but all of it is pre-existing shit. And it's this good.
Yeah. But I mean,
how about another drink?
Honestly, we paid those ticket prices for those movies so long ago that it's just rehashing old things now. We all got smart and stopped after X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh my God. That was a rough one.
Because we can, it was. We can watch Dark Phoenix, I think, for free on Disney Plus, and the New Mutants. Yeah. And I'm like, maybe.
Well, Apocalypse has that one scene. It has one great scene. It has one great.
And you know what? I can watch it on YouTube because it was
exactly. And you go to YouTube and you watch that scene, and you're like, man, we don't talk about the Eurythmics no more. Like you get like kind of opinionated while you're watching that. And but that is an amazing scene, and I can see a lot of producers at Fox going like, fucking. Doing a line and just realizing that fucking this company is sold anyway. I think we had to start renting out the parking spots because we were so fucked. Disney's gonna buy us. Yeah, that's good enough. Fucking send it to the theaters. Send it to theaters.
They did that. Hey. They did those lines of coke, and then they're like, "I thought you said this scene was supposed to be slowed down."
Yeah, damn straight.
Seeing that shit in real time.
Fucking. Did you notice the Lucy? Is Lucy McLean?
Yeah.
That's the name of John McClane's daughter from Die Hard.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we got to get some Die Hard shots in here.
That's fine.
All right.
Bring it all in.
We'll get to work on that.
I like that they're setting up this mystery that because they're borrowing from so many comics that you still literally have no idea who the overall bad is going to be for this season.
I don't care.
And that's fine because we all thought that it was like, oh, it's Mr. Sinister.
Yep.
And then he was like, nope, really just the one episode. That may be the only episode he's in this season. Possibly, maybe. I don't know. Do we have Apocalypse now?
Could be Mojo. It was all simulation. Be a cop out, but it's possible, and they've done that shit before in comics many times. So it's like anybody could be it, but right now it's like I don't even give a shit who the main villain is. Like it's such good storytelling. I care about each character. I don't care about Gambit. Gambit finally made me really care about him with this writing and the way they did that. And I knew he was gonna fucking charge that bike and chuck it at them and blow it up. Like I was like, if this show is as badass as I think it is, he is going to fucking charge the motorcycle, do a fucking jumpy jump, and chuck it at a fucking Sentinel and blow it up. And they did, and I was so happy for that. So, And Rogue, I'm talking to you, girl. Magneto went full Dan Schneider here. Your mom brought you to this older mutant who can, give you a good life, and then your mom just looked the other way. Look, humans is humans. We all make mistakes. Gambit can charge things up. He controls the ability to charge up and explode an area.
Yeah.
Just think about that. Just think about that for a second, and think about who might be the better sexual partner. And go away with that. Just go away with that, and that's what you got. And you didn't. And I like, man, this episode did so well. They clearly told us that she had fucked Magneto and she had fucked Gambit. They had never said it. They never said it.
Well, she didn't fuck Gambit. She fucked Magneto, definitely.
he said, "I'm not the type that you are, that I can do this loving and then just act like we're friends." And I'm sorry, I took that very much as, you fucked Gambit, bitch, didn't you? You put on a
No.
big silly ass condom and you fucked the shit out of Gambit. And then Gambit the next day was making you muffins and shit, and you weren't ready for that. And you were still thinking about the fucking Dan Schneider P. Diddy that had treated you so well for so long. And you were like, do I really want to listen to this fucking corny ass accent for 50 years? You cut ties, no one blames you. But you should have been a little more honest, shouldn't you? And this is the soap opera that is X-Men, and I love it, and I am here for every second of it. Hey,
And I like how they just like Cyclops, badass character, first couple of episodes. Now he's a psychopath.
but to be fair, in the
No,
comics,
he's a pretty big dick. He's a pretty big dick. I know, but still, it's like
he's in the comic book. He's Captain America if he was on his fucking period constantly. Like it was just like he is the mood swing X-Men where it's like I loved the scene. He had they wrote one of the best Cyclops lines they've ever written. No, we're not like humans, because if we were, you would all be dead already. And I was just like, fucking A, fucking Cyclops. That is exactly the child of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X would say exactly about that shit. And I was like, God, every one of that. And like the battle scenes got emotional. I got the fucking spoilers. The new shitty X-Men got killed, and I was a little sad. I was like, fucking no, Magneto, save worthless. Fucking jelly man with a skeleton and eyeballs you could see. I have a couple issues with that motherfucker in him. Marvel, you can do better. You can do better.
it's all Grant Morrison.
The bar is low. The bar is low for what we will accept. And sometimes you don't even make the fucking bar. So and killing him was like the sweetest thing they did to you. Yeah. Oh man.
No, Blob Boy lived.
God damn you.
Blob Boy lived. He was in at the end. Only Gecko died. You're gonna go back and watch because Blob Boy was there looking down at Gambit and Rogue. At the
I
end.
must have mentally blocked him out because I can only see joy. I can only see love. I don't see fucking
Blob Boy.
the abortion that is Blob Boy. Ay, ay, ay.
But they had to throw in mutants that people either
And
didn't
everybody.
know or knew her and everything like that. I do enjoy that you immediately got Dazzler the episode after Mojo said she went off to do something.
I love Dazzler, such a horrible character. I love when they try to use Dazzler because it's like there are certain characters that are really hard to use, and Dazzler's definitely, she is the peak of 1970s cocaine writing, where she makes no fucking sense and is absolutely worthless and comical.
She's supposedly going to be in Deadpool.
I think that's great. She's the perfect character to be in a Deadpool movie. That would be wonderful.
And
like,
you know who's supposed to...
Squirrel Girl. Fucking, we can get on a list of like characters that would be really cool to have in a Deadpool movie because you can go stupid, you can go dumb, and you can have him pointed out, and it would work really well. So,
do you know who's supposed to play Dazzler?
Who?
Taylor Swift.
That's great.
I know. It is.
Fucking cash the check, Disney. Like, you guys are gonna do fine on this movie. So you don't need a script. Me preaching about that shit is a lie. I'm gonna fucking print money on that shit. All the Taylor Swift people are coming. All the old.
I have a feeling that I didn't think it was going to be true. I thought X-Men 97 was going to kind of stand on its own and everything like that. But I think X-Men 97 is going to be a legitimate setup for Deadpool 3.
I wish. I don't know. I'm scared for Deadpool 3. I hope we didn't get too much meddling.
cassette.
I hate the character Deadpool. I have never liked him. I thought he's over the top. I think he's overused. He's the Bugs Bunny Groucho Marx character for the Disney universe, which gets old fast. When he does that, breaking the fourth wall for the 8 millionth time, it's real funny in a 2-hour movie. It's really hard in 20 years of comics. Okay, it's like, haha, he broke the fourth wall. Oh my god. After a while, you're just like, you are literally the dumb court jester. You're the laughing monkey that's supposed to be funny, and you're only funny a third of the time. So, but the first movie was really fucking good. It was well written. It was perfectly cast. It was well acted. It was within its means. It is the best thing that has ever had the name Deadpool attached to it. It was perfect. The second movie was fine. It was not great. It was not terrible. It was fine. I hope this third movie is great.
Speaking of the second Deadpool movie, I enjoyed that the voice actor they got for Cable just decided to do a Josh Brolin voice for Cable.
Nice. Why not?
It's like when he spoke in the episode, I was like, "Is that Josh Brolin? He's done Thanos in the What If series. Maybe they brought him in for Cable, and I saw nope, wasn't him. Just somebody doing his voice."
Cable's a tricky character to do. A lot of the X-Men characters are really tricky and hard to do. And Cable is fucking 70-year-old man that's the size of a fucking house. It's
Yep, there we go.
Yeah,
Taylor Swift Dazzler.
Dude, I think that's smart. I think Dazzler sucks. No comic book fan is like, you stole it.
The Dazzler issue. Hooray.
Like, no comic book fan's gonna give a shit about Dazzler. None. So I think it's smart. That's the smartest casting ever. And Dazzler, when used right, can be a fun character. So fuck it. That's great. They just used it in X-Men 97 very well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then all this death and destruction, we're moving right away from that right back to Storm and the Storm and Forge storyline and Life Death Part 2 for the next week's episode. Because, X-Men just likes to fuck with us now.
Do you think OJ is going to be at the Oscar Memorial?
Oh.
I've been drinking. I am an hour and 40. You guys started late. Started late, all right?
The intentional Dan Snyder references, because that's what we are all about for this X-Men run right now.
Okay. Will OJ be included in the Oscar death ceremony departed thing next year?
In memoriam?
Who wants to take bets? Who wants to take bets, sweetheart?
That's a no. He will not be included.
I'll say $5. I say $5 and do a quick shot.
Was he ever even a SAG member?
He is a Naked Gun movie.
No, but was he ever a SAG member? Or any of the guilds? I think that because I think the only people they put up there are guild members at one point or another.
He was a SAB member.
As soon as I saw the news today, I threw something to Morrison. Morrison threw it back. Well, at least they finally got the real killer.
Norm Macdonald had the best one. Norm Macdonald had the best joke, which was, OJ said he loved Nicole so much that he would have died for her. And he's like, that's horrible luck. The person that would die for you murders you. So, it's still the best OJ joke.
Norm Macdonald got it right however many years ago that was now.
Yeah. Anyhow, Oscars, Academy, it's on you. It's on you. Will OJ be in the memoriam? He was in the Naked Gun movies. Look at that face.
That'll boost ratings. Just getting people to see if it's going to take place, and you keep hyping the in memoriam section of the Oscars coming up.
And Hollywood, you love promoting fucking terrible people. Don't get on a high horse here. You don't have one to get on. You Dan Schneider loving bitches.
I had wanted to make a meme of showing Genosha said what we like the when they're when they're arriving. Be the caption today. How we saw Nickelodeon as children.
Yeah.
And then go to the war scene at the end with Dan Snyder's face on the kaiju sentinel.
I still might do it. I was gonna
behind
make
the
a video
scenes.
of the UN accepting Genosha to the UN and just see like fucking Taiwan Simpsons fucking third candidate punch a fist through his hat of like Taiwan not being able to get into the UN. Like, oh my god, even fake countries are getting in. Wakanda's gonna get in there before Taiwan does, you bastard.
Wakanda's already part of the UN. They established that.
Yeah.
The second movie, I think.
There you go.
Well, James, how are you going to rate X-Men 97 episode 5?
Yeah, I can't believe it. I have issues with episode 4. It's not episode 4. I don't like the interpretation they have of Mojo, and I love the soap opera-y shit, but I thought the Storm and Forge stuff was just so-so. You know, it just wasn't that great.
It was too short. It was a part 1 of a 2 episode, and because we didn't really talk about that part of the episode last week. It was all focused on the Mojo for the most part. My issue with that part of the episode was it was so short for it being the first part of a 2-parter that there was nothing really established in it except some visual things that you had to look for in the background that maybe gave you hints of other things that were going on and everything like that. But the story that they're doing for Life Death was like, we're going to spend some time with Storm and Forge is going to throw out I love you to Storm, but there's no build up to anything. Yeah. It was just like, here's story beats we're going to show you. Cliffhanger ending.
I mean, they do. I think you're being nice to them. They had 15 minutes. We see in other episodes what they do in 15 minutes. You know, this last episode was 33 minutes. Episode 5. Think of everything that we got, everything that we had that happened. Gambit's arc in this, Rogue's arc in this, Dan Schneider's arc in this. So, you know, he was watching that when he got the Magneto scene. He was like, "This Magneto fellow seems like the hero." He's taking these young girls and he's gonna train them. What the fuck's the problem here? Squeeze the potato.
No, I'm telling you straight up though. I didn't care for the second half of last week's episode. I enjoyed the first half, the Motendo one, a lot more than I enjoyed Life Death Part 1.
But again, it's also, I think it's just the other episode. Everything is so good in this show. Us bashing on episode 4, it's still a decent episode. It's just not up to the par. It's up to the par of the old show.
Yeah.
I'd say the newer episodes are better than the old show, but the episode 4 felt like an episode from the old show.
That was one thing that was missing from this episode was that the stilted 90s dialogue of the X-Men TV show didn't seem to exist in this episode.
Yeah.
Which made it that much better. Not to say I hated it in the first couple episodes. It's like, okay, that's nostalgia speaking there about everybody, but it's like they seem to have dropped it. Yes, the soap opera stuff was so heavily laid on, but it wasn't the expositional speaking when they were talking to each other about things. It's like, okay, you're caught up to speed. We're gonna soap opera this shit, but without trying to explain other things to you.
God, the soap opera was great, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
God, Jean kiss Wolverine. Thank God he's got that healing factor. He went back and beat the shit out of that meat. God damn it! I felt bad for the kids in the rooms next to him. He lives at a school, you know. Wolverine, control it a little, all right? There's young people there. But oh my God, Jean finally I don't even know outside of alternate realities. I don't even know of a comic where she's given him that much attention to even do something like that. In Age of Apocalypse, they were together, but and he had lost a hand and shit. It was all dumbass shit. But I can't think of too many.
No, I know. Miranda Jared got sick in the middle and went to the bathroom. He's out of commission, so Is James and I finishing? We got to ask what happened to Jay. And I'm telling the audience at home, Jared will not be joining us the rest of this broadcast, which will probably be about 2 or 3 minutes longer now.
But man, I gotta say, yeah. So loving X-Men '97, loving Fallout. So this has been one. It's we don't want to bitch. We want to be entertained. We want to like watch content that's worth watching. And X-Men '97 is way smarter than it ever needed to be. And it's what's also really nice about both Fallout and X-Men '97. They pull so much from the source material, where it's like we already had these smart stories and fun worlds existing. And in X-Men's case, these brilliant characters existing. Just do that. Why do you need to? Don't reinvent the wheel on some of this stuff. Just do what it is, you know. And we see that time and time again, you know. And so it's nice. It's nice when somebody actually does it this way.
X-Men, the writers of X-Men '97 are like, I've wanted to do X-Men for so long. They're just like they're blue balling themselves the entire time, and now that now that they finally have the chance to get this out, it's like we're gonna put everything over on the screen, and everything they put on the screen is the best X-Men stuff that's been on TV or film ever.
Yeah.
So 5 more episodes of it for the season, and
it's just it pisses me off that your movies aren't this good. Like that's all it did was just piss me lately. Today I was just thinking about that. Yeah.
At least it's better than the Fantastic Four movies, which Fox just made out of obligation to keep the rights.
Yeah,
they tried. Once upon a time they tried.
Yeah,
and then they tried once again with First Class, and then there's like, oh wait, we don't have to make super good movies. We could just cruise by with X-Men characters.
Yeah. I like Days of Future Past. It's a mess, but I like it. You know, it's like it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's salvageable. But then we got Apocalypse, and we got the Dark Phoenix, and then the debacle that was New Mutants that Disney still had to put out.
Well, even with Dark Phoenix, it's always a bad day when the director comes out and apologizes to the public about the film. Like that's never a good time. Where the director releases a statement saying, "We hoped for this." And it didn't happen, you know. It was just like, yeah, that's not. I heard his apology before I saw the film, and I was like, not looking forward to your film anymore.
You know,
like when somebody has to apologize for it, like that's not a good day.
You know, at least one of the directors of the X-Men movies apologized for things.
Yeah. Sorry, little boys. Not everybody's gonna get an apology. Moving right along.
The Dan Snyder of the X-Men universe, Bryan Singer.
Oh man, bitch, you've been Dan Snydered. All right. So, and on that note,
yes, on that note, all right. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, subscribe, and ring notification bell, and catch us on all your favorite social media outlets. Right here, we are on Facebook Live, and we've been apparently broadcasting once again on the Instagrams. Those kids like the Instagrams.
Yeah. They got photos and shit. I've seen it. Who said I did? Yeah.
Join us next week when we are continuing our talk about apparently both X-Men and Fallout, because that's what TV is nowadays, X-Men and Fallout.
But you should be watching X-Men or Fallout, or both, and enjoy life. Oh, what a wonderful existence.
And then in 2 weeks, we will stop enjoying life because that fucking Zack Snyder second part. Yeah.
We don't have to.
Yeah, we do. We already signed a contract.
We don't have to.
We already signed a contract in blood.
We don't have to. We
do.
just act like it don't happen.
We do.
Hey, Zack Snyder, don't release it. Why you release it? No, don't. Mamma Mia, just keep it at home. It's gonna be fine. I think we should do that. I don't think we should review it. I think that's a better idea. I don't know who said it. Whoever said it, but whoever said it, I support it. We shouldn't review that show.
I heard this bad Italian accent guy say it.
Who was it? Chris Pratt?
Yeah, it was Chris Pratt.
It was Chris Pratt. I knew it.
You're gonna listen to Chris Pratt?
Right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Chris Pratt.
James Cope's going to listen to Chris Pratt. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on Fine, I'll Watch It. On behalf of Smoking Fat J, I am Matt Christie.
James Cope.
And we will see you with more bad Dan Snyder jokes next week. We're going to run that into the ground, aren't we?
As opposed to the good Dan Snyder jokes. Yeah.
We could come with gold if we
Snyder
can.
Jokes with the monocle and shit. Like, there's some good ones. There's some highbrow Dan Snyder jokes.
Hey, we used him for all he was worth in the Mojo episode.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll catch you next week. Unless we're